All right, about to cross the border. I'm at the last exit before heading to Canada. Let's see how this goes. I have a feeling my car is gonna get searched. Hi there.
Hello.
There you go.
Where's home for you? What brings you to Canada? How long do you plan to stay? Where are you gonna stay? So how did you get here from California? Like, were you camping or what's your job at home? So how do you have time off to come up here? Do you have a date to go back? Have you come up to Canada before? So you said you're meeting friends up here. How do you know those people? Do you still work? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Man, they asked a lot of questions. I didn't expect that.
My first stop across the border is Whistler, Canada, a renowned destination in the coast mountains of British Columbia, celebrated for its premier ski and snowboarding terrain, vibrant village life, and diverse outdoor activities, of which I took full advantage. And to my honor, I had the chance to meet up with the legendary Reese of Akomi, where we shred the gnar and shared my first experience with après ski culture, which was wild. My next stop is Vancouver, Canada. Surrounded by mountains and the ocean, it offers outdoor activities, a diverse culture, and a thriving art scene. And even more exciting, a great place for a VeVe fam meetup. The fam traveled from all over, by train, bus, or boat, to where we started our adventure with a stop at a local comic book shop. It was an amazing opportunity to talk one-on-one with each of these incredible humans and hear more about their collecting journeys.
Collecting started young for me. So we had a store in Vancouver called The Pop Shop. Just orange, lemon, lime, very simple caps, but over a while they just started to grow and accumulate. Then we started playing games with them. It was more just the fun of having something and then watching it grow. That turned into hockey and baseball card trading and storage in the shoe boxes, of course, which we would take to school. And so collecting was kind of like VeVe drops. It was, you got lucky and you would win something in a pack. I think I had my first comic books were hand-me-downs from my dad. He gave me all his old Archie books. And then we started picking out our favorite characters, and I was always Daredevil and X-Men. So probably in my late 20s, mid-20s, the comic book collecting kind of turned off a little bit. August 2021, when I finally started using the VeVe app, I could feel all those old memories and those draws of being involved in the characters. And I have several copies of Marvel Comics #1. They're so rare in the world. I have copies of ASM1, AF15. That's that collecting for the long term, the hold. Just knowing I have some of these pieces that could become heirlooms that I pass down to my kids and they pass down to their kids, and they're going to keep using them, enjoying them, and reading them. The key value for me is just being able to participate in something that I loved growing up, and now I'm sharing it with my friends and family.
Next, we wandered over to a local brewcade. It was so awesome to see how everyone was so warm and welcoming. Conversation was easy, as we all shared the same passion and excitement for digital collecting, something that, for some, started a long time ago.
I started off collecting in a game with like Pokemon, right? Like on the Game Boy non-color with no backlight. That portion there of collecting really started me into like the Pokemon cards once those came out. I remember my cousin brought me to Toys R Us every single Saturday, and they would have like these Pokemon tournaments, and I would learn how to play the game. And then when the anime came out, it just kind of like gelled together perfectly. Spider-Man has always been like a big part of my childhood. My uncle worked in like a video store, and the first Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire was the first movie that he had brought home to us, and I watched that movie over and over and over again. I found this Andre Jix video about the Omi token. Like, it gave me the ability to come into VeVe and just do a little bit more research on some of these characters. And like, I was hooked. I tell my wife about it all the time. She's probably sick and tired of hearing it. When you think of a collector at heart, I look at it as like, I get to own this piece. VeVe's kind of like made me into even more of a collector. Like, I have all this Pokemon stuff back here, but I have an Iron Man helmet here. And then these Todds would not be here if it weren't for VeVe. If you think about it, when I was collecting on the Game Boy, that was a form of digital collecting.
Here were people from all different walks of life, playing games and laughing together, who otherwise probably would have never met if it were not for this collecting community. One of which brings a smile to every face he meets when talking about why he collects.
My dad used to send me comics, and I used to just love them, like in the later 80s, you know? And so I would just collect them and hold on to them. The first things I used to collect was wrestling magazines. Around junior high, I started to collect sports cards with my dad. We used to go and like buy all the sports cards, like even the McDonald's releases ones. And then through the 90s, I got into Sports Illustrated magazines, which are just booming on eBay, and people are grading them. Sort of like in my journey in a nutshell, I've always kind of been a collector of stuff I love. The last toys I played with was Lego in like 1989, and I traded all of them to my next door neighbor who was a bit younger for one single comic book. And that was Terminator #1. So I traded all my like Lego, which is worth a lot of money now, and that comic isn't worth anything. So, you know, you win some, you lose some. If I buy a toy or a collectible that I love, I never feel like I'm spending money, but I do have to enjoy what I'm going after. A friend of mine who would come into my store, who was a big Star Wars collector, and he started talking to me about if I've heard the Marvel comics on VeVe, and I didn't even know what VeVe was. So I looked it up, and I saw the app, you know, and then the gold moments hit like a couple weeks later, and I was like, oh my God, this is crazy, because Star Wars, you know, right, with R2 and C-3PO, and I landed both of those on drop day. That kind of clicked for me. I went, oh, this is something. I was pretty much in after that. Collecting to me is all about being a fan of what you love. There's a lot of memory and there's a lot of nostalgia, and it just taps right into those feelings. If there's no community here, I mean, there is no VeVe. I think it's finding people who are like-minded, who share the same passions as you, or open your world up to other passions that you didn't know about, you know, kind of show you new things. And you can just learn from people, and it's just another way to connect with people all around the world.
Much love, Vancouver fam. You all are awesome. On the final episode, my journey comes to a close back at San Diego Comic-Con, where I have the privilege of chatting with some of the biggest inspirations in the collecting space.